I'm the man now. Nobody ever gave a handout. For the stretch, talking grams loud. Cut them off, get a hand out. Bro talk, what's that about?
What's going on, people? You know who it is. Tay Wiz reporting live from the Man Cave as usual. We're going to jump right into it. NBA playoffs start this weekend, this Saturday. Everybody in the East has confirmed a playoff spot, even though the Wild Wild West, you still got 5th through 8th. It's still up for grabs. So, I'm going to take you all through the Eastern Conference right now. The Philadelphia 76ers is on a 14-game winning streak. You know, played 2 games on Joel Embiid, and I just want to talk about the young Sixers team. Does this team has enough firepower to make it out the East? They're young, they're hungry, but like I said before, they still got some key veterans. You still got Amir Johnson, you got Ersan Ilyasova, and you got J.J. Redick. So with those guys right there, have playoff experience for this young Sixers team. You got Markelle Fultz coming back off that injury, coming off the bench, giving them some valuable minutes at that spot. But for a young team like the 76ers, do they have enough firepower to beat a 6 seed in the Miami Heat? We know they got Udonis Haslem there. They got Dwayne Wade back. You still got 2 guys off that Miami Heat championship team that is there to help that young core. They still got Hassan Whiteside in the middle to go up against Joel Embiid. That would be a dream matchup right there for fans to watch. You got the youngest center in the game going against another up-and-coming guy, as Hassan Whiteside himself. But if the playoffs start today, do you think this 76ers team can beat the Miami Heat in the first round? Teams are always trying to stay away from in the playoffs was the 76ers and the Miami Heat. But playoffs start Saturday. This will be a great matchup. The Miami Heat and the 76ers. And the reason I would give this edge to the Miami Heat, their coach been there before. He championship games, playoff atmosphere. You know they coach his guys up the right way. Nothing against Brett Brown. This is their first time winning 50 games since 2001. And like they said, trust the process. How far can they trust this process? If the playoffs start today, I would take the Miami Heat over the 76ers in 6 games. And that's how I feel. And not only in 6 games, but that would be like a hard-fought game. Because I think Miami Heat will come into their arena and steal game 1. Game 1s are the most important games in playoffs. When you win game 1s on your floor, it set the tone for the rest of the team, coaching staff, and not only the coaching staff, the fans. Because fans actually make the players play a little bit harder too when they cheering. You think players would like to hear their name be called on that Jumbotron through the PA announcement? It's always motivation to steal games on the road, especially too in a hostile environment. You know, Philly fans gonna be hungry. You know, Villanova came off their championship. You got the Eagles. Now they saying the Sixers up next. So anything is possible. You do have to trust the process, but I think this process may run its course this coming weekend. We're going to see how these games are going to play out. Like I said, the playoff format is pretty much confirmed in the East, but teams can still go up and down. Because in the second seed, you got the Boston Celtics, 3rd, 76ers, 4th, the Cavaliers, 5th, the Pacers, and also 6th, like I said, the Miami Heat, 7th, the Milwaukee Bucks. But a team that's in the A spot, the Washington Wizards. This is probably the most disappointing Washington Wizards team I've seen in a minute. Yes, they had John Wall due to injury, but this team lacked ball movement, inconsistency. It's still that sometimes I think they still don't trust each other on the floor. And that can hurt you too going into playoffs. They need continuity to get to get themselves over the hump if the playoffs start. They go up against a Raptors team. This team is hungry. Can the Wizards sustain and make a playoff push? This is one of the teams that people pick to dethrone the Cavs and the Raptors or the Celtics. But right now, you can't dethrone nobody when you don't have no continuity on the floor, understanding what players on the floor need to be where they need to be at. So when you look at something like this, I was going to say, man, the whole bad thing about the Wizards is that you've been hearing on TV, can John Wall and Bradley Beal coexist? Can they coexist? That's the whole thing. Can they coexist? Can they put the BS to the side and you say, you know what? You know what, Bradley? You know what, John? Man, hey, forget all this critic noise. Forget what we say about each other. Man, we a brotherhood, man. Let's go out here and win these games. And until they come full circle and hash that out, the Wizards not going anywhere. Anywhere. because they got to get together within the locker room. Some of the stuff they do on the floor is very noticeable. John Wall will come down the court. Players be open. He'll look them off. He'll shoot the rock. Same thing with Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal want to be this guy, and I got to shoot the ball first. Then come John Wall. John Wall's the point guard. You know, the point guards are the quarterbacks of the team. Going to put the player in the right position to be where they need to be. But until those two stars come together and hash things out, sky's the limit for these guys. Sky's is the limit. Then I'm looking in the West Coast. At number 1 seed, you got the Houston Rockets, Golden State Warriors at 2, Portland Trail Blazers at 3, and the Utah Jazz at 4. Everything from 5 through 8 is still up for grabs. Pelicans as the 5th seed, Spurs at the 6th, OKC at the 7th seed, and Minnesota at 8. And I'm looking at this. I know the top 4 teams in the West are locked. They confirmed the playoff spot. But anybody can shuffle from 5th through 8th. Anybody. And you can't leave out the 9th seed because the Denver Nuggets is there. Like I said, I've been around with the Denver Nuggets the whole season, like I have been with the Utah Jazz. And I told everybody Utah Jazz, Donovan Mitchell was something special brewing for them. And what I like from Donovan Mitchell, poise, coachable, understand the game. This is a young rookie. This is a good rookie class right here. When you're looking at that guy, Donovan Mitchell, a lot of people probably didn't pick the Utah Jazz to come out the West or to make it to the playoffs. I picked the Utah Jazz to make the playoffs. I had them not as a 4th seed. I had them no lower than the 7th seed. But they actually did better than I thought they was going to do. But I still had them in the playoffs, so you can't knock me for that. Like I said, you can go watch some of my videos. I've been sending it all season long. The Utah Jazz. It's funny how social media and the TV outlets is just not joining this train. And I've been telling people for the longest, this kid is special, very special. From Summer League, him, Kyle Kuzma. And I'm saying now, you ask me about who could be Rookie of the Year. I always thought it could be this may be the first time since 1995 that we can see co-Rookies of the Year. And I would take that to the bank. They both are doing tremendous. And they both in the playoffs. So you can't knock that. When you look at a Donovan Mitchell and a Ben Simmons and what they doing for their teams, you got to respect it. You got to tip your hat off to those guys. They understand the flow of the game with these coaches. Donovan Mitchell, Ben Simmons, and everybody keeps saying these are once-in-a-lifetime players. When I keep hearing that on TV, I said, man, you know what? All these players that make it to the NBA are once-in-a-lifetime players. It depends on what the coaches bring out of these players. If that coach can bring that beast and that animal out that guy, sky's the limit. You open another box to Pandora. So when I'm looking on the floor, I'm looking at certain situation with a Donovan Mitchell. You know where he can go from point A to point B. Man, sky's the limit, like I said, man. You heard it from me first. Shout out to my guy Ryan Hollins, man, who always checking in. My boy Jeff McGinnis, who always checking in. Like I said, man, Sneaker One Way, man. We always said sky's the limit for these teams, man. And I'm looking at it. Co-rookies of the year. You heard it from me first. Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons and Donovan Mitchell. 76ers, Ben Mitchell. Utah Jazz, Donovan Mitchell. Co-rookie of the years. Coach of the year. I did have Dwayne Casey. But right now, man, Quinn Snyder making a good run for coach of the year. And so is Brett Brown of the 76ers. So you need to take heed at that, NBA. Hey, coach of the year this year won't be an easy one to pick. But if you ask me who my two finalists would be, Quinn Snyder, Utah Jazz, and also Brett Brown, Philadelphia 76ers, to take this team from where they was at last year to win 50 games. In the previous years, we're in 13 and 20 games. That right there, the city of Philadelphia is rocking. You can't nothing but to do respect it. But before I go, I want to talk about the OKC Thunder. Which OKC Thunder will we see in the NBA playoffs? Will we see the team that we seen last night going against the Houston Rockets? When I look at Russell Westbrook, he had 27 points. We had about 9 rebounds and 10 assists. And that's way below his average. When he put up those numbers, When I say those numbers, anywhere under his average, they win games. They win games. When you put him anywhere under those numbers, when you put them crazy numbers up like 35 points, 12 rebounds, and 14 assists, normally lose those games against the superstar teams. Can we see that same Melo that we seen? We know Carmelo Anthony is a defensive reliability. This guy hasn't been to the playoffs in 5 years. 5 years. Which Carmelo Anthony will we see? Which Paul George will we see? Can we get that same attacking Paul George that we seen last year in the playoffs with the Pacers? Can we get that same Paul George? Which Melo man we going to see? We know what Russell Westbrook going to do. We know what Steven Adams going to do. But they're relying on those two heavy hitters and Carmelo Anthony and Paul George. Can those guys come back to the table and make it happen? And if they can, my guy was talking about this. He's been saying this all year long. I want to see OKC dethrone the Golden State Warriors. We look at the playoff standings. He's been calling it all year. He said, I would love to see the Warriors lose to the Thunder. If that right now happened, is everybody is writing those guys off, the Thunder. This team is set up to dethrone one of those teams, the Houston Rockets or the Golden State Warriors. When I look at those guys, they're over in OKC with the bench they have, but I'm gonna point one thing out and why OKC been losing some close games. They are missing their defensive anchor, Andre Roberson. When you look at Andre Roberson, he brings a lot of defense to the table. He can guard up to 3 positions. He takes some of the ease off of Paul George and Carmelo Anthony. If you'd have got him back, you probably had Carmelo Anthony coming off that bench or maybe go to a bigger lineup. But at the same time, that is really key. Andre Roberson is missing. He's out for the season. If they had him, this team made some noise, along with the pickup of Corey Brewer. When I look at certain situations with this Thunder team, does Russell Westbrook has enough to trust his teammates to get him over the hump? He has a point to prove. And everybody keep writing the Thunder off. Even though the Thunder did take care of business. When I look at these guys, the Thunder, and how they took care of business. And I'm going to talk about another team before I go. I got 2 more. The Golden State Warriors. We seen how Klay Thompson scored 22 points last night in the corner. Yes, it was against the Phoenix Suns. But the sad part is, Klay Thompson only get all these touches when Steph Curry's not in the lineup. That's kind of odd. That's the only time he get his shine, when Steph Curry's not in the lineup. He can get all these touches and he can score. And like I keep telling everybody since day one, Klay Thompson may be the best kept secret on this Warriors team. He's a two-way player. He's a scorer and a defender. Not only he can lock you down on defense, he can light you up on the offensive end. This guy can score about 30 points in a quarter. Easily. He has that type of capability to set the tone for the team. But sometimes he does get lost in the lineup when Steph come back, because now you got to go through Steph, KD, Draymond, then Klay. When you're the 4th option, sometimes you can't hit all your shots because you go cold. You don't want to go cold in those certain situations. And I'm seeing from the Golden State Warriors, I want to hit this on the head. There's a reason why the Golden State Warriors cut Amari Caspi and signed Quinn Cook for the Warriors. When you look at Quinn Cook, is that sending a message to the rest of the NBA that Steph Curry may be out longer than the first round of NBA playoffs? He may come back, probably Western Conference Finals. Is that MCL sprain that bad? Because remember, 3 years before, Kyrie Irving had that same type of injury and he came back and cracked his kneecap. So injuries are nothing to be played with. There's a reason why the Golden State Warriors made that signing. Because they know that they have no backup point guard going into the NBA playoffs. Yes, you got, what's my guy name? Sean Livingston. You got Sean Livingston, But so far, he's been inconsistent this whole year. Andre Iguodala been inconsistent all year, up and down. The whole Warriors bench been inconsistent, except for Quinn Cook. He's the only one who's been consistent, going back and forth to the D League, back to the Warriors, to the D League, to the Warriors. He's been consistent throughout this whole play. I thought it was a great sign by the Golden State Warriors. They needed that backup point guard, somebody who can control the ball and take some of the pressure. So now you can have KD and Draymond Green can freelance the floor to get their shots. I thought that was a great signing, but does Quinn Cook has enough to get them where they need to be? The whole thing about that signing of Quinn Cook, like I said, Steph Curry going down with the injury. The one thing they should have kept, they should have took more time in trying to keep Ian Clark, who I thought was fabulous in their lineup. Can knock down threes, can get to the hole. He's very crafty. I don't see that same type of player in a Quinn Cook because you can easily defend him and take him out the picture and make everybody else do more. So, I'm on the phone this past weekend. Today is Monday. Well, Saturday. And the comparison, they keep comparing everybody, Michael Jordan and LeBron James. I'm about to end this right now. There's only one player that I can compare LeBron James to. Magic Johnson, Oscar Robertson, and Karl Malone. Because Karl Malone and LeBron James is pretty much the same type build. But one thing about Karl Malone, he had a consistent 15-footer. He was an okay free throw shooter. Same pretty much free throw shooters as LeBron James. But when you look at the whole game aspect from Magic Johnson and Oscar Robertson, because he has those abilities and traits to pass the ball and get anywhere on this floor, those are the players you should compare LeBron James to, not Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was a finesser. He's a scorer. He was an attacker. Only person that's like that in the league was Kobe Bryant. And, as people was like, okay, now you're getting somewhere, Wiggs. And then the reason I keep saying this, you can't compare Michael Jordan and LeBron James together. LeBron James is a powerful player. Michael Jordan was a finesse player. He was an attacker. LeBron James is an attacker too, but he's not a scorer like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was a high-volume scorer. LeBron James is not a high-volume scorer. LeBron James is a high-volume passer. So we're going to put that to bed. Stop comparing LeBron James to Michael Jordan. He's nowhere close to Mike's shoes. He said that his idol, what player that grew up playing basketball, favorite player, isn't Michael Jordan? Who didn't want to be like Michael Jordan? That's a lot to fill Michael Jordan's shoes. A lot. So put that to bed. Kobe Bryant's the closest thing to Michael Jordan. The next closest person to a Magic Johnson, Oscar Robertson, Karl Malone, as LeBron James. Them players are huge, same type of build. They can get to the floor. They know where their players at. The reason I say Karl Malone is a big body. He knows where he needs to be on the floor. He can take over the game. And that's what he is. LeBron James is a Karl Malone type player. And Karl Malone's a Hall of Famer. He never get mentioned with none of the greats just because he don't have no ring. He's up there with the upper echelon players up there. Karl Malone is hands down one of the greatest players who ever graced the floor. So you got to give him a respect as well. So you look at somebody like Karl Malone, what he did, and look at some of them NBA finals like going up against Michael Jordan. Karl Malone was no sap on the floor, folks. Don't get it twisted. He was a man amongst boys. Respect Karl Malone. When you bring up Karl Malone's name, you should bring up LeBron James' name. These two guys are powerful impact players. So is Magic Johnson. Y'all know how I do it. I'm Tay Wiz reporting live from the Man Cave. Until next time, folks. Peace.